All right, so unit 13, awkward constructions and unclear sentences. So we're going to fix awkward constructions and unclear sentences by doing these three things. One, simplifying the sentence using active voice, which we have practiced before. Two, placing any descriptive words, phrases, or clauses next to the thing that they are modifying. And so when things that are being modified, think of like a big blue ball. Big and blue, your adjectives are modifying the word ball. They're changing the way you think about it, because now I've described it as big and blue versus if I said it was red and small. So the descriptive word and phrases are what's modifying, and your noun, the verb, or the noun is the ball. So that makes sense there, but sometimes three can be more difficult. Making sure descriptive words, phrases, and clauses have something to modify. Sometimes we have this lovely description, but we don't actually have a noun that it kind of anchors. And so we want to make sure in our writing we have that. Let's practice. Okay, so first, simplifying the sentence using active voice. As I said, we have done this before. So instead of saying a sentence like, my brother has his cell phone, which he's totally absorbed playing with, raising his head only when somebody specifically calls his name. Now, my brother and the cell phone is here, and raising his head is talking about the brother, but it's interrupted by this middle part here. So instead of doing that, which also creates a more wordy sentence, we want to say something like, my brother loses himself in his cell phone, comma, raising his head only when someone calls his name. So that now we have it closer. The misplaced modifier is similar. We want to make sure to have all of our descriptive words, phrases, or clauses next to the word that they are modifying. Otherwise, you get a misplaced modifier. So for example, Joe packed all of his unwanted clothes and housewares into his truck, which he was donating to Goodwill. So apparently he donated his truck to Goodwill. That's what that sentence actually says. So you will never get marked off for this, most likely in a formal essay, but sometimes it can really confuse the reader. So you might get feedback from a professor that says, like ideas unclear or not sure what you're trying to say here. And oftentimes it's because where the modifier is. Instead, we would want to use an interrupter. And that's why we practiced that earlier. Joe packed all of his unwanted clothes and housewares, comma, which he donated to Goodwill, comma, into his truck, because those are the things that he is donating. Misplaced modifier could also be something like, having run out of gas, John was late for dinner. I mean, I guess John could run out of gas, but I'm going to assume that it was a car that ran out of gas. See how we left out that actual noun? We need to add that back in. Then we have another misplaced modifier. Last week during the tornado, I nearly lost all of the shingles on my roof. More clear, last week during the storm, I nearly lost all the shingles on my roof. So just moving around pieces of your sentence to be clear. And then thirdly, the dangling modifier. You don't want your modifiers dangling. It's rude. The dangling modifier occurs when the noun that a phrase or clause is supposed to describe is not stated directly. And I see this so much in student writing, specifically in student analytical writing. This happens quite often. Thus, the phrase causes dangles without anything clear to modify. So I will see student sentences like this all the time. Naive and idealistic teaching would be easy for me, right? Well, we need the who was thinking teaching would be easy, I thought. Naive and idealistic, I thought teaching would be easy, right? Moving the I up. Or to increase strengths, weights should be lifted. Again, who needs to lift these weights? We need to have a noun there. It's dangling without an anchor, a noun. To increase their strength, comma, athletes lift weights. So you are going to revise some of these following sentences, and it will be a little difficult, and you might get different answers than your peers here because there's going to be more than one right answer. So you can look at these ones here, and then we're going to continue doing 13.1 and 2 for today.